Hello,
Hi, Alada, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. You okay?
Good. I'm good, thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm guessing you can hear me as well.
I've got you, yes.
Perfect. How are you? How have you been these days?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. I'm riding the wave as everyone else is and reacting to the news and things and restrictions, but yeah, all good. I'm training a lot, which is keeping me sane. How have you been?
Pretty much the same. I've got a small community of people that I train with online, and that keeps me mentally healthy.
Yeah,
It feels like I'm in a group of people and we're all like heading in the same direction.
yeah, going through
So,
it together.
yeah. Have you been doing a lot of work from home?
Yes, I have. Yeah. I mean, well, my role actually is working from home anyway. So normally, but within the week is normally going out to loads of different clubs and meeting with different people in gyms and different environments. So yeah, that kind of part of my role going most days I'm out on the road anyway, but that's been totally taken away. So it's all screen Zoom meetings as everyone else is, I guess. So yeah, locked down at home, but just not allowed out as everyone else is. So
Well, hopefully that's going to end on Wednesday in
I know.
some form or the other.
Yeah.
Um, Great. So we're here to talk about Les Mills. Um, what was that?
Hopefully I can help.
No, it's all right. There's no pressure. There's no need to help with anything. So you started talking about your role. Would you mind sharing the role so that everybody kind of understands what you're doing and what's your perspective on everything we're going to talk about?
Yeah, sure. So my role at Les Mills it's changed quite a little bit this year. I guess my title is business development manager. So at the moment I take care of the northwest of England, northeast, Scotland and Ireland, which is really
Sounds
exciting
like a
for
lot.
me. Yeah, it sounds big when you add Scotland and Ireland to it. Before that, I was just predominantly looking after the northwest of England, but more looking after partnerships. Whereas it's shifted slightly because there's been a bit of a boom and a growth for us, kind of outside of the gym and health club space as well. So my role is to kind of launch new partnerships and create new relationships and partnerships with health clubs and gyms, which is typically where Les Mills operate, and it's kind of the bulk of our business. But also expanding now into kind of hotels and corporates and wellness providers and student accommodation and all kinds of different facilities that are looking at putting on some form of group exercise product, I guess. So it's kind of changed a little bit, which is really exciting. I'm kind of pulling a little bit out of the typical health club and gym space. So yeah, I work with all different kinds of people, instructors, club owners, people who manage office spaces and wellbeing, employee wellbeing products as well. So lots of different conversations, but kind of looking at different ways of harnessing group exercise within that. So it might be a live class with an instructor such as yourself. It might be a virtual product. It now might be a digital product where it's online and online membership. So yeah, the pandemic has definitely shifted some types of conversations, and every conversation is totally different. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell what I do.
Gosh, sounds like a lot. It sounds
Yeah.
like you're all over the place. You're managing like everything at the same time. So, have you seen this change in role due to the pandemic, or was it something that was expanding already before? Because I was living in the Netherlands before the UK, and they had virtual classes since I would say 2015.
Yeah.
They started introducing Les Mills virtual trainers, but only
Yeah.
in gym
Yeah.
around that time.
Yeah, to be honest, virtual has always kind of been there, and it's been kind of increasing in popularity in the past few years. I think the pandemic has definitely accelerated it. If you think of when clubs were kind of open and with restricted class numbers of kind of 6 people and that's it, having a virtual setup and studio in place allows you to kind of expand your timetable and get more people through the door. Definitely in terms of, I mean, virtual is great for people who are new to Group X as well, who may have a little bit of nervousness around it or class cancellations, all sorts of different things. But yeah, I think the pandemic has kind of accelerated digital fitness in all ways. So people are kind of used to this now. People are being forced to train at home and get used to people on a screen. So it will probably become more typical in the health club environment for people to get used to a screen and that kind of thing. Because I guess Group X has always been an instructor and maybe 25, 30 people in a class. And when somebody walks in and suddenly there's a screen and there's people speaking who are from a different country and it's all being filmed in a different location, it might be new to some people, but now the pandemic has kind of made that normal, I guess. So yeah, it was there before, but it's definitely kind of accelerated and we're having a lot more conversations about it at the moment.
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, it's been like that with most businesses.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses are saying that we were going to implement these things within the next 10 years and suddenly they've had to do it within 5 months.
Yeah, exactly.
It's doable. And do you find Lesmills is putting more resources on the virtual stuff, or do you find it's just an equal of like instructors and virtual going together?
Of course, it's completely balanced in terms of the split of focus. It's not necessarily right, the world's gone this way, let's put all our eggs in that basket. The bread and butter of what we do is our live instructor-led classes and will always be that way. And our CEOs are very certain on that's kind of protecting our instructors, protecting our clubs, and virtual and kind of communicating through a screen is a great alternative, but you know as well as I do that having a person live in front of you communicating with you and that engagement you can't get better than that. So there is obviously a focus on digital and how we can kind of get better in that space, but definitely instructors are our number one focus.
Great. So speaking about instructors, and I know that Lesmills has a big tribe feeling, tribe sensation. Have you found, so during the pandemic, we've got issues like mental health, we've got people striving, even for instructors, it's been quite a rough year because most of us are self-employed. Have you found that there's been more engagement in, say, like blogs or people kind of supporting? And how has the Lesmills kind of supported the instructors during this time?
Sure. Obviously, it's a lot. Typically, instructors are self-employed and on a freelance basis, and a lot of our instructors have other jobs and other roles, and it can be kind of a thing that they do on an evening or a side job or on a weekend, and a lot of instructors do it for the love of it as well, whereas a lot of people it is their full-time work and their full-time job. So it was a huge concern, obviously, when if suddenly a club isn't doing any classes at all, what happens to all those instructors and all the classes that they do? And in terms of the government support and things that was maybe lacking, it was a big concern. We shifted our kind of connection groups. We have a group on Facebook for all our UK instructors to try and bring everyone together. And Sarah Durnford, who heads up all of our instructor base in the UK team, is doing regular check-ins and live streaming things and seminars and webinars and education around looking after yourself during this time, how to keep connected, and all these kind of things that is accessible to instructors. So we're provided as much as we can to keep people connected. And from, I guess, the side that I'm on in terms of clubs and trying to educate clubs on what they can do as well, because although we might not be able to be physically in clubs, there's a lot you can do with the power of live streaming and these rockstar instructors that are in front of your members. How can you get them on a virtual timetable or a live streaming timetable through social media? So we're encouraging that as part of the partnership now, that the ability to live stream and do it that way as well from the instructor's home or the club. So yeah, we're very wary that there's been months of this and in and out of different restrictions for instructors, so it's a really difficult time.
No, it's good that you say that there's a lot of resources being put on this, and I mean, I'm not going to lie, because I'm a freelance, I'm a freestyle instructor as well as Lesmills instructors, and I'm not hiding that I've had my issues with Lesmills, but I do find it a really good quality program, and the tribe sensation that everybody is supporting everybody is, especially at these times, is very, very essential. And you do get that feeling from Lesmills groups.
Good. How have you found it Geraldo, for yourself during this time as a freelancer?
So luckily, my wife is a nurse, so I've never had an issue. We've never had an issue financially because she kept working, and I think that kind of takes like the biggest strain from the family, because we keep hearing about people in the radio who they don't have a job, they don't have a payroll, they can't even sustain the basics, they have to pay the bills. So for me, it's been I was lucky enough to still get an income in the house, and then I could express my own creativity in all kinds of ways. So I've been teaching online classes. So I have a group of people that I keep supporting, and they keep supporting me. So I must admit, I've not been on the rough end.
Okay.
If not exaggerated, I've quite enjoyed the time off. Because it has allowed me to do other stuff.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been massive to me, but I've been talking to people that it has a massive effect on them, and I've been trying to support as much as possible.
Definitely, it's so difficult, and it's, you know, in the UK we've got over 10,000 instructors, so it's kind of nigh on impossible for us to contact every single instructor to check in, but we do our best with it. And there's certain things we've been trying to do to kind of keep engagement. So we released a one program free trial to go to clubs with that don't teach Lesmills, just to try and give opportunity to teach at clubs that maybe don't have a partnership in place. In November, we did a huge drive where instructors could do an extra program doing online training. So there's some key things that we've kind of tapped into just to keep the engagement and almost give something back and give some opportunity where we can. Within reach. There's only like a certain amount of us in the UK, obviously, in the team. So yeah, it's definitely something we're really conscious on and keeping close to the instructor team.
Yeah, that's a question I want to ask. How many people have you got in the team, in the UK team? Because if you tell me it's 10,000 instructors, I mean, it's quite a lot of number.
I think in the UK team, we've got maybe 40 to 45 of us now. So yeah, there's there's a lot of people to look after.
If I'm not mistaken, you got a Cypriot, George Kouchouros.
Oh, George! Oh no! Oh, George is with a different business now. Do you know George? Yeah, gosh.
I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah. Gosh, he's doing some developmental work with a different business now.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Very cool. So, Northwest, Northeast, Scotland, Ireland. What? Yeah, it's a lot just to even think about it. So, what are the most popular programs? I would guess Body Pump hits number one, but what in your statistics, what's the line?
Correct. So Body Pump is number one. So it's actually really interesting that you asked me, because with our on-demand platform, we can now, it's only a certain amount of people. Obviously this doesn't take into account the live group exercise programs that we're running. Body Pump, we thought over lockdown that because people are training online and at home, that people might not have equipment, but it's still been our number one most watched and most trained program in the UK. So Body Pump is number one, closely followed by Body Combat, Body Balance, Body Attack, and then we've got the likes of Grit, CX Works, and RPM as well, which is interesting on demand, suggesting that a lot of people actually have bikes at home. But we've seen a huge rise in the likes of Grit and CX Works recently, which is really interesting. It's different in different areas and different demographics of members and things like that. But yeah, still Body Pump, Combat, Balance and Attack are top four at the moment.
I would be surprised for the equipment, but I've been trying to buy a kettlebell for 4 months, so I'm not surprised there's nothing out there.
I know. Oh dear, it's just crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy. And I mean, as for the bikes, there's been a huge surge by Peloton.
Yeah.
They've done amazing in the last couple of months. I know it's a rival company. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but
no, you can't. They've launched with Beyonce as well, didn't they? Is it last week or the week before?
Yeah.
They've got Beyonce on all their advertising.
Yeah. So great. So Body Pump. What do you train? What do you prefer?
So my number one is Grit Cardio. I adore Grit Cardio. I know, and it's a strange, it's like a love-hate relationship. I just love pushing myself, and to the point where I think, oh my goodness, I don't think I could do this. But since lockdown in March, there was a group of us that kind of got together, and we got on demand and pressed play at the same time. And body combat's my new love, actually. I love it, I adore it. Before I didn't, because my coordination wasn't great. But it's, oh yeah, I've really fallen in love with body combat. So I've gotten into that, really, considering doing some training in it and doing my initial training to teach it, but we'll see. I don't think I'm quite there yet.
I mean, you can do it. I've got a friend of mine. He's an academic. He's a lecturer, and he's in love with body combat. I mean, every time I see him, shout out to Ikes. Every time I see him, he's like, oh, he just goes on about body combat for hours.
Yeah, people,
but
they love it.
I mean, I'm completely the opposite. I can't. Yeah, because I come from a dance background, so everything that's like requires a lot of energy and a lot of structure, and it's just
there's no freedom for you to do your thing.
exactly. It's like form and everything is like, no, this is not me. So if I'm not mistaken, Grit and CX Works, they both came out around 14, 15, around that time. Is Lesmills considering anything new, any new programs?
Sure. So they're always working on different things, as you know, over in New Zealand. So we've got the lab there to test different things, and our clubs over there to kind of test the rollout and test in the market. So there's a few things. There's a couple of functional classes that they're testing over there at the moment. There's one called Conquer, which looks really interesting. So have a little look online. One that's just landed on Lesmills On Demand is called Lesmills Stretch, which is a brand new program. It's actually really, really interesting, the different pieces around stretching and spinal alignment and increasing your flexibility and really taking care of your body. So Lesmills Stretch, it's only out on demand at the moment, and they're always working on different things and new things, so hopefully some more as well soon.
Cool. Yeah, because it was when Grit came out, it was the craze with I think it was Insanity, you had 98, you had all these kind of high intensity, it was the high intensity craze, and now it's more like mobility work, animal flow, so it would make sense that you would need something more functional, I guess.
It's like everyone's gone for these kind of high intensity classes and kind of 30 minutes in and out, and then now they need to fix this. I need to, more body balance and yoga.
No, it's definitely necessary. I mean, I'm a sports therapist as well, so it's only more work for me if people get broken. Great. Have you ever been to New Zealand? Is that something you'd ever do?
No, I'd love to. I'd love to go and experience the clubs out there. Definitely, it's on the list. So when we're allowed to travel again, I'd love to.
Yeah, I can imagine. It must be quite an experience to go to the headquarters and actually see everything from within. So how did you come across Lesmills? So when you started working for Lesmills, did you know what it was, or did you just say, oh, I'll just apply and whatever?
It's I came across Lesmills originally. I used to work at David Lloyd in Cheadle, the health club, in the memberships team there, and that's where I first kind of tried Grit and body pump and got kind of into it. And it was a USP of the club that they had Lesmills classes and Lesmills programs, and a lot of the members there adored some of the classes in that club, and I kind of saw it then, and then I moved to work for Technogym, which was gym equipment company in business. Adored that company and that role, and then it was one of my friends that I used to work with at David Lloyd said there's a role at Lesmills coming up in the Northwest, and then I thought, I'm not really sure, and then I went down to the office, an office in Aldgate in London, and just totally fell for the brand and the culture. And there's a culture power, and you can kind of feel it when you walk into the office. There was a kind of feeling that I got, and I thought, oh dear. And then went through the process, and then decided to move from Technogym to Lesmills, and luckily got the job and the role. And it was just a different space really to be in. I'd never worked particularly in the group exercise space. And you'll know there's something really healthy, and the energy that you get from working in the fitness industry, and definitely with group exercise, is something really special about it. I think it's almost addictive, the feeling of going into a class. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is addictive, and I was discussing that with a friend of mine who's a presenter, and we were explaining that it's not just the fitness, that we're building a social element, because people want to come there every week. It's not just that they're getting better through the exercise, but there's also like a small community, and you need to motivate people. You need to start changing their behavior. So it's definitely, so you're definitely getting a strong sensation. And trust me, when you're sitting at the front, I mean, hopefully you'll get your grid certification. But when you're sitting at the front and you're getting all the energy from the other people, suddenly it's like an adrenaline rush, and you're like a hopping bunny for an hour. And then you drag, and you're like, how did I do that? Well, how did that happen? It's it's incredible.
I bet when you get home, it's like deflate. Oh goodness, you're like.
God, yeah, it's my wife doesn't really get it. A lot of people don't get it because they see me and I'm like always like very quiet, very like, you're not like that in the class. I'm like, I'm like this exactly because I'm not like that in the class. And it's great for you take out of your emotions. A lot. We did have, in years before, we did have deflating moments in our lives where you scream, you shout, break something, that's it, done. And luckily, we as instructors, we get that in the class. But it's amazing how much people in their everyday life, they don't get these moments of like build up,
get it out,
throw everything away.
Yeah, it's like I kind of, in that hour or 45 or 30 minutes, however long you're in that studio with the instructor who's creating that, it's an experience, and the participants and the connections you make from the people on the front row, people at the back, people who are new, people who've been coming to that class for 10 years. You kind of lose yourself from real life and what's going on outside of that studio space for however long that is. And I think that's what keeps people coming back. And that's why we see group exercise users as the most engaged. They stay as members for longer. They refer more people. And it's such a powerful thing. I think that's why it feels so healthy. And I feel really lucky to work in the environment.
No, it's amazing. Have you ever had to fight for the front row?
I don't go on the front row. I'm not there. I'm at least a third, maybe second in grit if I'm feeling confident, but I'm not a front row. No.
There's people who have like set spots, and if you walk on their spots, it's like you don't want to be there.
No. It's territorial.
Amazing. So let's say hopefully vaccine is out. We got 2-3 months into normality. How do you see your role progressing? So are you out and about engaging more companies to get Lesmills through it, or are you out and about just focusing on the clubs? How does your role progress after the pandemic?
Yeah, good question. I think naturally we'll be getting all sorts of different questions and queries and inquiries from all different types of businesses. I think we've already seen it happen in the past couple of months in this year, but definitely a rise with employee wellbeing and the corporate space. And I think definitely with the working from home with the pandemic, the accountability has kind of shifted. And I think there's a real keen interest for businesses to be taking care of their employees, and be it at home or in the office, in terms of not just physical health, but as you were saying, mental health, well-being, nutrition, work-life balance, all different types of things. Are people getting what they need and what they want? So I think that space is going to kind of ramp up quite quickly. And then even in the space of hotels and different products that are coming out in that space, and school environments and fitness within children, and what does that look like as well? So I think there's so much there's so much we do as a business, and there's so much that the industry can offer, I think. But definitely with the corporate wellbeing side of things, I can see a lot of potential growth there. And then in terms of the clubs market, there might still be some nervousness for people to go back into a live club environment, a live group exercise class, be it for the safety of themselves or their family. So it's how we can help partners have a blended solution where say if you're a member of a club, you could go into your live class, or you might be able to live stream that and do that from your home, or if not, it's on demand and you can press play on that when you're ready in your own time. So it's how clubs can kind of harness it and help members get access to their membership in an easier way if it's digital or at home. So just helping people get that blended approach a little bit more, rather than typically the way clubs operate. Everyone's having to change, aren't they, I guess? So anything we can do to help support that.
How has it's very important what you say. First of all, what you said about the corporate well-being. One of my good friends, he works in mental health, first aid, and he's worked for Mental Health England, and he's been trying to push into companies like really to get packages of like nutrition, mental health issue, counseling, exercise into the workplace, and he's been really trying to push it into companies. But about what you said about streaming into people's houses, how much licensing plays a role for that? And have you seen a big change with the last 2 releases where you got a license-free music with it?
Yeah, definitely. I think on the first point that you made around your friend who works in mental health and the mental health first aid course, which I think is brilliant, I think that space is going to really expand. And there's a gentleman called Graham Hind. I'm not sure if you know Graham Hind, who he owns a fitness networking business called LFX. It's like a group, and he's working on so when you join a club and you fill in a health declaration of how do you feel and all this kind of stuff, I definitely recommend looking into it. And he's developing something around including a mental health aspect to that. So if a new member or people, and the world's changed the past kind of 6 to 10 months, mental health issues are on the rise. We've seen it loads in the news and all these things.
It was even before the pandemic. It was a massive issue even before that, and that's why I'm talking about my friend. Actually, I had him on the interview on the first episode, and he's been telling me that for the past 2 years. So the numbers have been exploding. So you add in a pandemic, it just gets worse. Sorry, the sun is popping in.
Exactly. It's okay. We'll have a mental health pandemic is what people are saying. And so check out LFX and what Graham Hind's doing and including that. And how do you include that as part of a membership or somebody's journey, I guess, because we're checking in at gyms and health clubs constantly around physical health, and it's how can we educate fitness professionals who've probably got the background and the capabilities to maybe not own people's mental health issues, but be the middle point of contact, I guess, that they might not be able to speak to people at home about, or perhaps in the workplace as well. And actually a gym environment where it could link directly to the healthcare service could be a perfect route for a lot of people.
The thing is, I would argue we've already been doing that for all these years. It's just that we're not trained to give the right advice, because
people are nervous to own that. Yeah,
exactly. But when you go into a class and you get into the class like 15 minutes earlier, people come and talk to you. They tell you their problems. They show you different signs. But I believe, and I know I am not. I've done the mental health first aid, and it was really helpful in showing me what do I do if this happens, what do I do if that happens. But I believe that instructors not properly trained, not only to cope with that, not only to be able to help other people, but also to be able to not take everything within them.
Not take it on their shoulders and take it home. Because it's the relationships that you're building as well. So if it's somebody that you speak with all the time and suddenly they give you a piece of information, you think, okay, I need to do something with that. I'm not sure what to do. It's number one, knowing where to signpost, because, I wouldn't know if somebody told me that information, I probably wouldn't know where to start or where to begin. And it's how can we educate everyone within the industry, instructors, gym instructors, receptionists and people who work in the cafe and the bars, and people, members that are having these conversations. But yeah, exactly what you said, it's being able to know where to signpost people, but also not taking that on board and on your shoulders and taking it home and as your responsibility as well, and where does the line cross and what happens. So that kind of training, I think, is definitely somewhere that people can play within at the moment and I guess grow within.
Yeah, great. So in terms of the licensing,
yes, sorry, we digress.
I forgot about it.
So yeah, the PPL free music, so music licensing and streaming, PPL and PRS is something that instructors and clubs will know about a lot, and some, I guess, challenges around that. So yeah, up until the end of December, so we've released the PPL free music for instructors to download, which has been really greatly received. So yeah, hopefully that's just a little give back that can help, and also with live streaming as well. So we're definitely trying to advise clubs on checking that they've got the right licensing in place, update them on what's changed and what will change moving forward, because PPL and PRS changed something slightly till the end of December in terms of original content. So it's just what we can do with that and working with instructors to keep it going, really, because if not, it could cause some barriers and some frictions around live streaming to private groups and things like that. How have you found it? Have you had any challenges?
No, I mean, it's been quite straightforward because I've only been teaching to the club. It's just took me a while to find where the PPL music was. But once you do it once, then it's quite easy. So just to get it clear for people out there that want to know the rules. So if you have the PPL free music, what are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to do?
So you can live stream to a private Facebook group. We advise going through the club directly and keeping that connection with the members with the PPL free, and we always advise going through the club and keeping that connection definitely to a closed Facebook group so they can do that. Okay,
perfect, amazing. Well, I think that's been quite a lot of information.
Yeah, I feel like I've just spieled.
No, that's good. That's good. If somebody wants to contact you for any kind of business reasons, is there email or a business page they can find you?
Absolutely, yeah. Contact me on LinkedIn, Elly Colvin, or elly.colvin@lesmills.com on an email. Just share any kind of messages, any notes, anything like that. I'm happy to help. Yeah.
Perfect. It's been great chatting with you. I'm sure we'll get a lot of comments on this one from my following on Facebook. But anything I get, I'll get it back to you. Thank you so much for the time.
No worries. It's been great speaking with you. Yeah. I'll see you soon, definitely, and around the clubs in the north.
Oh, did you enjoy the slide, by the way?
Oh my goodness, yes. I did enjoy the slide in Claire's space. Yeah, it was brilliant.
It's a killer, but it's amazing.
Oh my goodness, it's the steps, because there's such a big step. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you so much, Elly.
No worries.
Enjoy
take care.
Your day.
Nice to see you. Bye.
Bye.